Thank you for listening to Ingram Law. As always, we appreciate you being a guest. This is Joe, ingramlaw.com. My phone number is 205 335 2640. This is Real Law Alabama podcast, where we discuss criminal and family law issues in the state of Alabama. My office handles cases from Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, Mobile, and even the Dothan area. If you have a case and you need representation, give us a call. We will discuss your case over the phone. We may even have you fill out a form online. And if we think we can help you, we will get you in for a consult. If we think we are a good fit to help you and represent you, then we'll take your case. Sometimes we have guests, and we've had a few here lately. Tonight we have a very wonderful guest. We have a young man that I met through my BNI chapter in Homewood. It's called Birmingham's Best, and he is a financial planner in Birmingham. His name is Zach Sims. He works for Nowlin and Associates. And so we're going to bring Zach in at this time. Zach, are you here?
I'm here. Thanks for having me, Joe.
Thank you for your time, Zach. So we got to meet over a cup of tea and coffee, and I was so impressed with you that I asked you to do this, and you graciously gave me your time. Tell the audience a little bit about you personally and professionally.
Well, I sure will, Joe. Thank you so much for the kind words, and very much felt the same sentiment. It was a wonderful coffee, and for the audience who isn't familiar with BNI, Business Network International, it's a networking group with different professionals, and we're tasked to have one-to-one meetings each week with our fellow BNI members. And we set a record. I think me and Joe met for about 2.5 hours. We were just engrossed in conversation, and it was wonderful. I had the best time, and was really enjoy the time with you, Joe. So I feel much the same. But just my brief, boring summary. I'm from right here in Birmingham, Alabama, born and raised, proud of it. Went to Homewood High School. Went on actually on a football scholarship to UAB, University of Alabama at Birmingham, and I played there for 5 years. Got my bachelor's of science in business administration there. Then went on to get my MBA, my master's of business administration at UAB as well. During that time, I met my wife, and we were happily married and live over in the Glen Iris Southside neighborhood with our 12-week-old chocolate lab puppy named Buffett, named after the late great Jimmy Buffett. Not Warren Buffett. I know I'm in finance, but I didn't go that route. And then also I interned during that time at UAB at Nowlin Associates. And it is the only real job I've ever had, is what I like to say, and been there about 5 years, so right at half a decade, and have loved every minute of it. Been a great career thus far.
Well, first of all,
I told you it was quick and boring, Joe. I told you that.
No. The fact that we sat there for 2 hours is because you sat there very courteously and listened to a 53-year-old man run his mouth. So that's why it lasted 2 hours.
It was a great story. You're underselling it. I really did enjoy it. It was a great time, and it was time I wanted to spend. But yes.
Okay. So before we talk about your career, you grew up in Homewood. If I am correct, you were an Eagle Scout.
Yes, sir. I'm an Eagle Scout of Troop 97, Trinity United Methodist. Myself and also my two younger brothers followed me. They both earned the rank of Eagle as well.
Okay, I forgot that. I forgot about your brothers. So I have two nephews that were both Eagle Scouts. what is there one trait that you can attribute from being in the Eagles, being an Eagle Scout, that has affected your life today?
That is a fantastic question. So I'll tell you one thing. I certainly cannot tie a single knot other than my shoelaces. So don't think that I'm going to come out and do a bunch of knot tying for you. I probably could put a tent together. I could probably cook over a fire still. But a lot of the typical Boy Scout traits, I certainly could not hike 10 miles in a day. That would not happen even close to that, fractionally even at this point in time. But to answer your question, and I think a trait that is much more important that I've taken from Eagle Scout is just sticking with something. I know that's super simplistic and vague, but you learn all kinds of stuff. You have different merit badges you attain, whether it's personal fitness or finances or knot tying, and all that stuff's great. You learn some nice ancillary skills there and life skills. But I think just the it takes a long time, especially when you're in school and you're playing sports and you got your social life and you're growing up. It takes a long time to earn that rank of Eagle, and take some work. It's not super ultra hard work, but it's work. And as a young person, having to be mature and get that work done outside of school and all that's going on, it just teaches you to stick with something. And I think that's something that is carried over. I I went to the same school growing up, which I didn't have much influence over that. I went to the same university the entire time, stuck with UAB, even though many of you know who are local. When the football program shut down, I hung around and I stuck around here and continued to play. And even in my career so far, I've a lot of people my age tend to bounce around from job to job. I've stuck it out there, and it's a career that's it's a little difficult starting out. So I would have to say, Joe, to answer your question, it taught me more than anything to stick with something, to not quit, to persevere, and to keep fighting the good fight, as they say. So that's certainly what I got the most out of during my time at Troop 97.
Okay. So it made you a very disciplined person.
I'd say some might not consider me disciplined, Joe, but it gave me some grit. It allowed me to stick through some stuff. So
Okay. So you grew up in Homewood and you went to UAB. What made you decide to go to UAB versus Alabama, Auburn, out of state, private school? What led you to UAB?
Sure. Well, as a 6'1" offensive lineman, I don't know if you know this, but nowadays they're growing them at about 6'6" or 6'7". But even 10 years ago, when I was getting recruited, I certainly didn't have Nick Saban knocking my door down, nor was Gene Chizik at the time. So, to be candid, that was my best football scholarship offer. That was my only Division 1. I had some Division 1 AA offers from Jacksonville State and a few other schools, but it was I guess it was the highest level of football that decided to offer me. So that's what made the decision. I'll say this though, similar to Eagle Scouts, but even much more so. UAB is what made me who I am today. Through the undergraduate program, playing football those 5 years, going through the shutdown of the program, my MBA, meet my wife. I loved it so much I didn't even leave the neighborhood I lived in school. So the football is what got me there. What kept me there though was the university itself. It was Birmingham, and that's really what was an integral part of making me who I am today. Really. So
Okay.
maybe a more
Um,
long-winded answer than you wanted, but
no. This is great. This is great. We're just having a conversation.
hey, good deal. Good deal.
Okay. So let me ask you this: Is if you play D1 football, is it really a year-round commitment now?
Most certainly. It seems to be changing. You know, yearly, monthly, daily now with all the new legislation and NIL and everything that's going on. But my understanding it's very similar to when I was playing still. I mean, as far as the commitment, the time commitment, yes, sir. I know, just to give you an example, my true freshman year, our red shirt workouts, which I'm not sure was under NCAA purview at the time, we had to be weighed in and ready to go in the weight room at 4:30 a.m. every morning, Tuesday to Friday. And we were all red shirts at the time, so we were not on the travel team. They redshirted us to give us an extra year, but weighed in by 4:30. The workout would go about 2 hours. We'd end about 6:30. The joke was we'd be getting out of the weight room, and the sun had still not come up even after the workout. You then have breakfast check. Um, you'd go when you go to the cafeteria, and they'd make sure you're eating enough and getting calories in. You then generally, most freshman classes, at least for me, were 8 to noon. It's when they plan your whole schedule out for you. You barely get to pick your classes, at least your early years. So 8 to noon was class. Then you'd have lunch check. You'd have to go back to the cafeteria, make sure you're eating, getting calories in. You then go head to meetings at about a little bit before 1 o'clock. Meetings start about 1, and you'd watch film from either the practice prior or maybe even the game from the Saturday before. That'd be from about 1 to 2 o'clock. You then go get dressed, taped up for the next half hour, 45 minutes. Practice would go. You'd have pre-practice, which was just practice. It'd go from about 3 to 4. Real practice, as they called it, was about 4 to 6:30. So sometimes 7 if Coach Clark wasn't happy with what he saw, or Coach McGee at that time, excuse me, for my freshman year. Get done, you go to dinner check, and then after that, you'd have mandatory study hall till about 10 o'clock, 10:30, and then you would sprint home and try to get in bed and get your 5 or 6 6 hours of sleep before your wake up call at 3:45, 4 o'clock. I will say that was the most brutal schedule. That was under Garrett McGee. Clark wasn't quite that, but it certainly wasn't far from it. But we also won quite a few more games with Coach Clark. So I think he had a nice happy medium between working us too hard and not working us hard enough. So we won some games with him.
So that sounds like to me that's a full-time job in of itself besides being a student.
Certainly.
Right?
You hit the nail on the head there, Joe.
Okay. That's interesting. So at UAB, your undergraduate was in business. Was it accounting or just business, Zach?
It was business management, business administration was my undergraduate. Yes, sir.
Okay. And then you obtained your MBA.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And as I understand this correctly, the only real job you've ever had is the one you have today at Nowlin and Associates.
Unless we want to count me being a bartender at Zydeco for my tenure of 3 years, then yes, sir, you are correct. Me being a broker and advisor at Nowlin Associates has been my only real job. Yes, sir.
Okay. Please don't say sir to me, Zach. Please don't do that. Okay. So you've got more letters behind your
Hey, Joe, you
name
here?
than an alphabet. Tell the audience a little bit about, what a certified planner or financial advisor means. Tell the audience a little bit about some of the licenses, Series 6. I think you got, is it Series 7 or just you fill me in, Zach. I don't want to sound stupid here.
It's no, not at all. It's very confusing, and there's many tests we take, and that they get very convoluted. It seems like, but so I initially, a lot of times the first license we gather is our life and health insurance license, life, health, and annuity, and that's a part of my practice that I help people with is their life insurance and estate planning and some annuity work for retirees. Then I went on to take the SIE, which is a newer exam. That's the Securities Industry Essentials exam, which is a prereq to the rest of the licenses. I then took my Series 6 and 63. Many times they refer to that as your baby broker license, which allows you to sell um, more or less what are called wrapped products. So you've I'm sure heard of mutual funds, right?
Yep.
And those are
Yep.
products that are being professionally managed, that you can sell for a commission, as well as variable annuities and some variable insurance products. That's what those licenses allow you to do. I then went on to take the Series 65, which allows me to be an investment advisor representative and allows me to charge a either a fee for planning, kind of like you would maybe for if you did build somebody by the hour in the legal world, or more popular is an assets under management fee. Somebody hands me over a certain amount of money and we manage it professionally, and we charge usually a percentage, around 1% on that money. That allows you to do that. Then I've also got my Series 7, what they kind of unofficially call the stockbroker's license, which allows me to trade individual securities and ETFs. So I guess that's about six total licenses. And then as far as the alphabet soup, I don't have a big alphabet soup like some do. I've got an MBA, of course, and then I've got my CPFA, Certified Plan Fiduciary Advisor designation. That allows me to, or that better helps me plan when I'm working with business owners and corporations on their 401k plan. So I do a lot of corporate level work as well. So quite a few tests I had. I thought I was done with tests in school at the end of my MBA. I was very, very wrong, Joe. I had more waiting on me, plenty more.
Well, school's never out.
That's right.
So, for my potential listeners and people that may need your service, and we talked about this. I would imagine you get people that are divorced and they divide 401k, stocks, investment accounts, things of that nature, right?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Okay. And not to get too personal, is that a tough line to walk where, let's say, maybe the husband and wife were both your client, and they get a divorce? Is there an ethical issue for you there as the advisor, or are you allowed to keep both of them individually? I guess you probably would, but I'm going to let you tell me.
That's a great question. So there's no rules or ethics that disallow you to do so. Um, you know, Technically, Joe, it's funny. I'll have a married couple, a happily married couple with no signs of divorce, who maybe the wife's got an IRA with me, and the husband will call me and say, "Hey, what's the balance on?" Let's for example purposes say the wife's name's Teresa. What's the balance on Teresa's IRA? Well, I cannot tell him that balance. I cannot disclose a single thing about that IRA or whatever that product may be without her prior permission, unless she checks the box of, hey, my husband can call and inquire and, have access to this account. We cannot even at that point disclose that to them. So really, my point in this is things are very, to use the term, church and state, in that they're seen as two separate individuals with their separate accounts. So even if that divorce happens, there's no rules against me having to discontinue the relationship. Now, I will say, many times that they both continue to work with me, but I'd be lying if I'd said that there's also times where they have the view that, well, I don't want him being able to see the assets or her being able to see the assets that I'm leaving with Zach. Do they have the ability to do that? Absolutely not. We're very diligent on not allowing that. Never would. But of course, they have that preconceived notion that would be the case, and I of course understand that. So some decide to part ways and go find another broker to work with.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. You said you did a lot of work with businesses. What, just for my audience and for me, I always like to learn. What's probably the biggest account you have? And I'm not asking for names or companies. I'm talking about what's the biggest account you manage under your portfolio?
Good question. It would certainly be, and yeah, of course, we can't disclose whom, but size wise, we've got a under my personal book, we've got a group plan, a group 401k we manage. It's got about uh, right under 8 million in it. So,
Wow.
a business here in town. We're not going after the huge, massive, multi-billion dollar 401ks. And with the 401k space, we like to focus on kind of that secondary and tertiary market. Sometimes even startup businesses, right? I did one for a law firm the other day. They've got 6 or 7 employees. We started a plan for them. They're happy as can be, right? And they're growing like a weed. I think they added 2 lawyers the other day. So we've worked from anywhere from, generally we look at it as a participant. How many participants are in a 401k plan? Are we going to be able to add our education and service to the participants as well as the plan level and choosing different funds for the plan? But if it starts to get past 1,000 employees, it's hard for us to be able to see those employees in a singular year. And there might be a point at some time, Joe, where we're able to scale and hire and handle those huge, enormous plans. But at the moment, we really don't like going past 1,000, and really, I'd like to keep it closer to 600, 700 or less, with as low as even single digits as far as total employees go. So
Okay. Um, when we had our discussion that day, did you tell me that you had hired a young man to assist you now? Was I wrong in that?
no, you're correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. So not only I think your wife works with you.
That's right. So my wife is she's my administrative professional and head of service, as we say, and heck, I think my most of my clients like talking to her more. They like talking to me at this point, but she's a rock star and very organized and very diligent in all her work and manages all the details, as I call it, with what we do. A lot of our paperwork and service, like I mentioned prior. Will, who you'd mentioned, Will is currently life and health insurance license, and he's got his SIE. He's actually working on his Series 7. He's been with us just under a year now, and he's building his own book of business. But a big role of his is to help service my book, and one of his roles will be as he's licensed and full go. Is to really hone in and service our participants in our 401k plans, as well as add an extra level of service for all of our individual clients as well, who are what we call retail clients. So, and he's been doing a tremendous job. Also, very hard worker. He actually played at UAB as well. All we do is hire just UAB interior offensive linemen. We know they're going to have a high IQ. They're going to work hard. So that's our only hire, I suppose, Joe. Just a whole lineage of them.
Okay. Let me ask you this because this is going to catch you off guard.
Oh, good.
No, 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 no. People that are listening, they can go look you up on LinkedIn or websites or whatever.
Absolutely.
They didn't have the opportunity that I had with you. I think I know the answer to this. Do you think you found your life's work?
I would have to think so. I never, as I've gotten older, I learned not to speak in obsoletes, right? Because, man has a plan and God laughs at that plan, right? We just never know what's going to happen tomorrow. And we never know what's going to change in life. And something could certainly change in mine, but I would be very, very shocked if there ever was a day during my working life that I was not a financial advisor, and really that I'm not at Nowlin Associates. It's a great place to be. It's great people. It's a great culture. We're growing right now, and that's kind of I think we spoke about it. That's a side project of mine. I'm a sales manager and recruiter for us as well, so out there helping find new talent, new advisors. But it's a great place to be, and really a great setup for the advisor, and being an independent local advisor, which is what I've always wanted to be and sell myself as. And really that I think that always trickles over to the client experience. If the advisor's happy and is thrilled about what they're doing, it many times is gonna carry over to the way the client is treated and their experience. So it's to answer your question, I would have to think it's the long term play for me. really don't see myself doing much else other than this.
Yeah, but after we had our conversation, and the audience is going to learn this um, through the course of our conversation. I have a plan for you, Zach.
All right.
You know where I think you're going.
Where's that? Tell me, Joe. I want to know.
I have this vision for you, Zach.
Okay.
I see you as a state senator or a House representative in Montgomery. I really do.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Is that my future?
I don't know, but I think you have the qualities and I think you have the skill set and I know you have the people skills. And I think you could probably end up being a state senator for Alabama. I really do.
Well, time will tell. I don't know if I'm diplomatic enough to be a politician, Joe. You'll find as you get to know me even better, I speak my mind way too much, and they don't tend to like that. People want to hear what they want to hear, right? So you never know. We'll see. I know a few guys in my world who have actually done that, who have stayed as advisors, and then also gone on a state representation. So this is funny to say that, but we'll see. We'll see how the cards are laid out.
I, I I think I'm going to be right. Um, I don't. I'm telling you, I'm going to predict it. We'll see. Okay.
Well, if hopefully I never do anything wrong or get accused of it. If I do, though, I got a great attorney representing me. I know who to call. Hopefully you're still practicing by then, Joe. Hopefully you're not on a beach somewhere at that point. I can still call you.
Um, I, I'm not going anywhere, but I'll find you a real lawyer. We'll do
Yeah,
we'll do that.
right.
We'll do that.
Uh,
Okay. So now I want to talk a little bit about because this is really important to me, and I think the audience will truly appreciate this about you. Um, you are in every community networking opportunity in Birmingham. And how old are you, Zach?
I'm 29. Uh,
Tell the audience, Zach. Just go ahead, brag a little. Tell the audience the names and some of the organizations that you are affiliated with here locally.
Uh, sure, of course. Yeah, I'm really good at writing checks, Joe. I'm not good at bringing the checks in, but I'm good at sending them out, and that tends to be what a lot of the organizations I'm a part of. They're tremendous organizations. That really all of them that I'm involved with. But philanthropy has been a very important piece of my life, especially in my post college days, and has been a great way to give back. I mean, really, it's not something I knew I wanted to give back and give back to my community. But I don't think it's any secret after listening to me for the last few minutes, how much I love Birmingham. I mean, really, I grew up in Homewood, but I say now I'm a true Birmingham guy. Even though people kind of associate Homewood with Birmingham, they're really two completely different cities, two completely different worlds. I love the downtown area. I still do love the metro area, but I want what's best for this city, and I want to see this city grow and thrive. And philanthropy is a great way to do that. And also too, it also has some ancillary benefits of networking. To your point, and being able to meet successful individuals and business owners and attorneys like yourself. So just to name a few, I'm actually on the board of a young men's philanthropic club called the Phoenix Club of Birmingham, and we benefit the Boys and Girls Club of Birmingham, Greater Birmingham. I'm the recruitment membership director there. I'm also on the Exceptional Foundation Junior Board. I'm in the Kiwanis of Homewood Mountain Brook. I'm in Rotaract, which is the junior version of Rotary. We're the largest Rotaract in the world,
Yep.
actually the
Yep.
first ever one.
Yep.
Um, and I'm sure I will at some point graduate up to Rotary. And I've even my boss has been trying to lobby me to join the Monday morning quarterback club. So, and I know I'm missing two or three in there. All the chambers of commerce, of course, I'm a member of, and our firm is involved with. And again, I'm missing a few in there, but it's been a big part of my life, and people don't know this too. Birmingham is one of the most philanthropic cities in America. We've got the largest Rotaract, as I'd mentioned, but we've also got the largest Rotary and the largest Kiwanis Club
Hmm.
in the world. So it's when people say they want a place to go to give back or even network, if that's a goal of theirs, there is really no shortage of that in our town here, down here in the heart of Dixie, as we'll call it.
Yeah. And the thing that I really enjoyed hearing about you talk about the Phoenix Club is for the audience at home. My understanding is that you age out at 40. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
And then at 40, you either move up to the I guess like executive board of the um, Zach. Is it Big Brothers Big Sisters? Am I wrong?
Boys and Girls Club, very close. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Boys and Girls Club.
my bad. I'm
No, you're
getting
good.
old. Uh, so you're almost about to age out of that. You're getting close.
Well, no, I've got about another decade. So I'm 29. I'll be 30 this year, and then
Oh, that's right.
40. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm in it, but I'd love to still stay involved. And then we actually we have a lot of guys who end up going to the Monday morning quarterback club. That's not a direct affiliation, but it's many times an unspoken kind of next step after guys get a little older. So our managing partner at Nowlin, Justin Kraft, he's a member of that and very involved. So another great organization.
I have to ask. Now we have two totally different occupations, you and I. How in the world are you able to do your job all week and everything else you're in? I mean, you've got to be your schedule's got to be really tight.
It is, but I'll say this too, Joe. You've got a real job. Financial advisors, and I don't mind saying this, and maybe I'll offend some of them. We don't have a real job, man. We're out there. We're serving the community, but we're not doing what Joe Ingram's doing. I kid, but I'm also a little bit real there. But really, an advisor's job, if they're doing it the proper way, is to go out and find new business, of course. Um, but also to maintain those relationships, right? If you're managing your practice the right way, in my opinion, and everybody does it differently, but if you manage your practice the correct way, you've got to learn to scale, right? If I were trying and attempting to go out and find new business and network, and then also maintain those relationships, then also on top of that do all the paperwork and administrative work, and then also do all the financial planning and building those plans and looking at every different detail, and then also on top of that attempting to trade and build models and build portfolios. Well, there, to your point, there's just simply not enough time in the day to do all that, right? So that's with the addition of Amanda and of Will, as well as our third party managers we use and employ. So we're independent, so we can use various third party money managers to actually manage the money that we oversee, right? And so we'll pick those different managers based off performance, or even whatever their investment strategy, whatever that lines up to that. Whenever that lines up to that specific client, is many times how we'll choose that money manager. So I'd say, to answer your question, even with scaling, my schedule is very hectic. But that's our personality. That's mine and my wife's personality. We love being on the go. We certainly like our weekends at home. There's not many of them, but we like the action. We like being around people, and really that's what this job is. It is a people first job. It is putting yourself second. It's what is best for the client. What are their needs? What are their goals? And how do I help them reach those goals? But yes, it is not a 9 to 5. We're always on Sunday through Saturday, and we love every bit of it. So
Okay. So now we've talked about your upbringing. We've talked about your education. We've talked about college. We've talked about football. We've talked a little bit about your career path, uh, the skills that you offer, what you can do for clients. We've talked about your um, community involvement and all the organizations you're in. And it's so overwhelming about you at 29, Zach. I mean, really, it is. I don't throw compliments around. I am so uh, honored to have got to meet you. Um, so now we get to do the fun part. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready, and thank you for those kind words, Joe. And again, I feel the exact same way. You become a friend. You become a friend so fast, Joe. And I feel like you're that way with your clients too. It doesn't take long to become a friend of Joe Ingram's once you meet him. So thank you.
Zach, please don't say that. The audience knows me, Zach.
Don't get bashful on us, Joe. Come on now.
No. Okay. So the first question I'm going to ask, that I told you I was going to ask, tell the audience the most famous dead person that you would either like to have dinner with or interview if you had the opportunity now.
And I put you did prep me on this question, and I had to think about it a little bit. One of my favorite historical figures of all time is Sir Winston Churchill.
Mm.
And some might have wanted to hear me say a domestic name rather than somebody from across the pond, but he is one of the most fascinating people that I've ever learned about. I think it was, first of all, it's just tremendous the way he took on the evil force that was Hitler and the Nazis, and with the help of us over here in the U.S. and many others, defeated them, right, and took them on head on. But also, even outside of that, and his ability as a leader, just his interesting lifestyle. I think I'd read a stat where he would smoke on average 275 cigars a month.
Mm.
He'd wake up at 11 a.m., right, which I can't even fathom how someone could be the prime minister of England, defeat Hitler, and wake up almost at lunchtime. I think he enjoyed some champagne and even scotch at his breakfast, which, granted, his breakfast was much later than the time you and I eat breakfast, Joe. But he had so many interesting facts about him. He was very witty, from what I understand. Um, and also too, he was one of those guys, and I kind of see myself this way, that really went against the grain. Right, a lot of people didn't like him. Certainly, a lot of other politicians in Parliament were not big fans of him,
No.
and he was very contrarian to the norm and how things were supposed to go. Put that in quotations, right? How you were supposed to be in leadership then, and sure enough, I think just that brashness and the way he carried himself is what helped him defeat that evil power that was. So, long-winded way to say Sir Winston Churchill would be my choice there. And I think this is the lightning round, and I just made that very unlightning with my with my 10-minute answer. So I promise the rest of these answers are going to be short, Joe. I apologize.
There's there's no bad answer here, Zach.
Good.
There's no.
Okay. Good to hear.
This is just you and I having a conversation,
Okay.
and
Good deal.
and about 5 to 10,000 people listen.
Good. Good. Excellent.
Okay, so are you a morning or are you a night person?
Speaking of Sir Churchill, I'm just like him. I am a night owl. I don't know if that's from the bartending days or what, but I'm a night owl by far. But still have to wake up early for client meetings and whatnot. So not a lot of sleep in the Sims household. That's fine. We can sleep when we die, Joe.
uh, for those that are listening that do not know, our BNI chapter meets at 7, which means that I get up at 5:30 on a Tuesday, which I do not enjoy at all. How about
Oh
you?
yeah, I do not either. And Joe's being kind. He did not tell the audience that I'm generally about 10 minutes late to that 7 a.m. meeting on Tuesdays, like clockwork. But I'm always there. I always get in. I pour my cup of coffee, and I've got a smile on my face though. So anyway.
No, that's good. So I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyway. Would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
That's a good question, Joe. I think many would see me as an extrovert, and I probably am. But man, I certainly do like some time to myself. I do. I play a lot of golf, and please, no one think of me as a golfer. If you saw me play, you'd realize that I'm not. But I love playing by myself. I love going out and kind of just hitting the reset button, having some time to myself, putting the phone on do not disturb as long as we're outside of the market hours. That's one of my favorite times is doing that. But I'd say it's probably a little cocktail of both. But I probably more leaning extrovert. And I think many would see that, but I do like some alone time for sure, and some times with my thoughts.
Okay. What would I think I know you so well because I've spent a little time with you, but
Sure,
but I don't know you that well. Um,
I'm very
what?
shallow, Joe. There's what you see is what you get.
No, no, I get that, and what and you know, um, there's nothing not to like about you.
That's kind of you to say.
What would you say people misunderstand about you as a person?
Hmm. That's a good question.
I know
Uh,
I threw you off with that one. Yeah.
you did, you did. I've got to think on that one. So, it's hard to say because you never know what people are thinking. You never know what people are talking about. Hopefully it's good, but I'm sure there's some bad out there, right? We're all made in our own perfect way, right? Um, I can be very passionate about certain things, right? I get very passionate about things I believe in and people I care about. I'm some people might see it as aggressive or even over the top sometimes. But really, it's one of those things, and it's probably a little bit of OCD in there somewhere. But when I get honed in and passionate about something, um, you know, I think many times that can be misunderstood, right? That he's obsessed or over the top with something, and maybe I am, but it's really more that I just care so much about a particular topic, a particular cause. I'm very much an all or nothing person, and that's something I need to work on, Joe. To be candid with you, so if I'm all in on something, I'm going all in, and sometimes that might rub somebody the wrong way. But that's who I am. I don't plan on changing. It tends to I think if you fight for the people that you care about and you fight for the things you believe in, typically things go well. And that's what I try to live my life doing. And but sometimes that certainly can be misunderstood. I would have to think so.
Okay. So I don't think this question's going to apply to you. What is your biggest fear if you have one?
That's another good one. Another good one. Um, you know, uh, I do not lie, and this isn't any kind of that last answer was a little more in depth. This is going to be much more the shallow side of me. I really do not like small spaces, Joe. I do not. I'm a bit of a claustrophobic, and it doesn't help being a big fella. For the audience, I've not yet lost the football weight, as I'll call it. If you saw me, you'd be able to tell. But I do not like small spaces, Joe. So let's go. The list of maybe get stuck in an elevator for a long period of time. I remember I went to Camp Cosby, which is a local summer camp
Yep.
not far from Birmingham. You're probably familiar with.
Yep.
Um, and we did spelunking for one of our call it activities. Was not a fan of that. And I wasn't a small seventh grader either. I was, about 6 foot one, 225 pounds. So it wasn't fun then. And I would certainly think at my size now, I'm not any taller. I'm certainly heavier. I would think I don't even know if that'd be an option for me, but I certainly wouldn't volunteer to go spelunking. So, yeah, I would not want to be trapped in a small space at any time soon, and hopefully not for the rest of my life, Joe. Does that answer your question?
So you don't want to go to jail.
I don't want to go to jail either. Yeah, but I know a guy that can keep me out of jail, and his name is Joe Ingram. And give him a call if jail is looking like it's on the horizon for you. You need to call Joe Ingram right now. That's who I'd call.
Zach, please stop. Okay. Well, I just ask those questions for fun. So for those that are listening, this was Zach Sims of Nowlin and Associates. He's a financial planner. He's a guru. He's very down to earth. He's very personable. He will listen to you. He has your best interest at heart. He cares about the community. And I say this, Zach, you are a true rock star. Where you're headed, I don't know, but I hope I get to sit around for the next 10 or 15 years to watch, because I know real talent when I see it, and you, sir, are true talent. So,
Joe, that's that is such a nice compliment, and thank you. To send it right back to you, I had again our time together today. First of all, has been a blast. Our coffee the other day, it was tremendous hearing your story and your testimony. If you have not talked to Joe and heard his story, you need to. It is amazing where he has come from, and kind of like UAB has done for me in Birmingham. Your story is what made you who you are today, and I think has made you also not only the attorney you are and what your cause is and kind of your why, but also the person you are. And it's been awesome getting to know you. And thank you so much for having me on this. This has been such a joy to get to do this tonight.
well, thank you, Zach. I appreciate your time, and I wish you well. And I guess I'll see you next Tuesday. And
See you there?
Yeah.
Bright and early.
All right. Have a good night. Okay.
You as well, Joe. Thank you again.
All right. So this is joeingramlaw.com. Our phone number is 205-335-2640. You can reach us on the web. We take cases from Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, Mobile, and even the Dothan area if we have to. As we always say, take care of yourself and each other, and have a good night. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.